If you are a technical trainer like me, then you know that you are a man of many trades, and whatever you build needs to be multi-purposed. So you would save time for actual training development and not just being a one gig man that created a training and then just married to it for eternity. So here I'll show a specific process of transforming an instructor-led training to a self-paced training, meaning that after I created a training, I want students to be able to take the training without me participating there as an instructor. And it's a very important process for transitioning between those two specifically, because there are some changes and differences, and they do influence each other. So first of all, let's recap what instructor-led means. It has an instructor, of course. It has multiple students at the same time, frontal. Now, motivation for exercise completion is external, meaning that you as an instructor, you're watching over the shoulder, people are engaged, they have this personal interaction, and it all goes well. And it's adjustable. It means that if someone might finds a mistake or anything in the flow itself, you can adjust it to fit the classroom needs. And this is very, very important because your support during this classroom also designs the outlook or designs the flow of the self-paced training, because it doesn't have an instructor. People are just sent to click their buttons and print materials and read instructions and perform them without having anyone to talk to. And their motivation is internal, meaning that it's very fragile. They need to complete this training, they need to go back to their normal work, and there's no one that goes and tells them, well, what about this, what about that, please start completing the content. And it needs to be very, very rigid. There are no possible changes that you can make in the middle of training, because you cannot just reach to your self-paced trainers in the middle of the week and say, well, I found some mistakes and now you need to do everything from a different angle or redo some stuff. It's just not possible. And of course, there is some support, but it's limited. If someone has a problem in instructor-led training, be it online or offline, online or frontal, you just jump to their machine, you correct the mistakes. But in a self-paced training, they would be reaching out to you through email. It's much slower. The responses are limited by your time zone. So definitely the support needs to be minimal. And it means that during the instructor-led training, you do as much as possible to develop the self-paced curriculum, meaning that you stabilize the exercises, you find mistakes and document them, you change the flows, you ask your students to comment on anything that they find, so the students that are doing self-paced would not experience the same thing without proper support or motivation. Motivation is important because it gets lost when things don't work. Now, the transformation process, it's pretty straightforward, maybe, well, if you're not doing it for the first time. So you create a welcome wagon. It means that you need to start interacting with the students before they reach out, they get to the training itself. You need to prime them, to tell them what's going to happen. And you need to create an introduction on your documentation that would set the perimeters, set the rules in a way that fits the self-paced training, okay? Now, you need to create a rigid sequence, and this is what we're going to do here. This is hands-on presentation today. It's not just talk, all right? And in the exercises, of course, you need to sequence them properly. You need to intertwine the theory so it would fit the exercises perfectly. And you need to establish support process and certification criteria. And we will do just that. So here's my documentation site. It's not important what it's all about, but I'm going to open the bootcamp or the instructor-led training. And I'm going to do it in two tabs. One of them is just for editing, and another one is for creating the new curriculum. So I'm going to edit the post. Right now, it is designed in the instructor-led training. So I'm going to create a copy. I don't want to change the instructor-led because I might have to teach it once more to live audience. And I'm going to say self-paced master page. Okay, actually it's going to be self-paced training, master page, and I'm going to publish it, basically saving it. Now the URL will change here in the site. There would be a dedicated video to how to maintain your documentation in WordPress in general. But now I'm going to the editing stage. And here I will be changing some stuff. So I'm going to say, welcome to the self-paced training. Please make sure all the lab setup steps before starting the exercises. So we created all of this introduction, welcome wagon. It's going to be based on emails. So you need to prepare some kind of a welcome email that says, well, next, if you're going to have training, you need to, use a full HD screen in case some products are sensitive, and bring your mouse and schedule some work off time. It's going to take you 40 hours to complete. They need to know in advance, right? Then you create a sequence with the exercise. This is what we did so far. You establish a support process, which was pretty simple, but believe me, the simplicity goes a long way. And you might notice that it says in support, it's like, take a full screenshot of the problem, because I want to see where the student is, not just the problem itself, not the error message, but in what window, in what step. I want to be able to jump right into it rather than asking more questions about it. So I want them to take a full screenshot for the support process itself, and then they'll send it to some PDL that works only during trainings, right? And then I added a certification criteria, which should be convenient for the student, not overburden them, but still make them work for it. And also make it convenient for me, because I get to keep a record of all of the emails that were sent to me. And then the sanity check, let's perform one last sanity check. So when the students are arriving for the first time, after I sent them emails 1 week before telling them, well, this is going to be hosted in this URL, the documentation is here, you will get a full environment for yourself. They can come here and they see this welcome, and they say, please make sure perform all the lab steps before starting the exercises. And then it's going to be, watch this 5-minute introduction video, which we're going to recap everything that's going on here. Then they will read this lab setup and certification. And this is the very first tab that we ask them to read completely and do everything. So they connect to an environment, they set up the environment, they power on their machines. The first-time users will have to learn some new skills over here very fast, how to connect and how to transfer files on the inside. Then they're going to perform one corrective task that is might be not necessary. You see, fix the issues with the environment. Let me see, maybe I don't need this. Uncordon. Okay, so I included this step over here. So you see, Sanity Check says that this is not necessary anymore. I can reduce steps. Okay. So I'll preview the page once more, always important to refresh after every change. Then rules of success, please perform the exercises sequentially. When you have an expected result, please go 2 pages back and 1 page forward. Why do I ask that? So students would be able to self-remediate, right? And Very, very important piece for them is to know that most issues are going to be solved by reading the documentation. The exercises are super precise. They were tested on 90 students before they reached to me. So everything was ironed out, and this is exactly what I'm going to do for them during the support. There's going to be support requests, of course. What to do when you need help: take a full screenshot of the problem, send them to some email, and then certification criteria, please send screenshots in one email to Alexei email at the end of the week. And then you need to send 4 out of 6 possible screenshots. I'm going to specify what screenshots are those later on. And then certificates will be issued within 2 weeks. When they go to exercises, they will watch a first video, perform 7 exercises. Data consumption theory, very cool theory. And then before we start the reporting exercises, another theoretical piece. So it's going to be 3 hours overall. Now, custom BVD dashboards and everything else related to the previous thing. And then I have this video that is unannounced. Unannounced, it means that I'll go here and I'm going to say, bring your own BI presentation. Okay, and it's going to be the bring your own BI. And then it's going to be performance dashboard presentation, performance dashboard exercise, AEC theory, and the AEC scenario. And we are going to end with one additional exercise. They will be able to watch all of those internal machines in their segregated environments. They're going to be able to download all of the presentations, and they're going to be able to learn about troubleshooting when the time comes, but it's not going to be mandatory for this training, although those are very successful trainings. So I'm going to tell them that. So this marks the end of this development. We are ready. There are some small details to iron out, but the whole structure is ready. I'm confident that I can deliver the training, and I'm confident with reaching out to students next week and telling them, well, we're going to have some fun, and this is where you're going to learn everything, send them this URL, and it's going to be ready. So to recap, this is where training transformation from instructor-led to self-paced happens. And as you see, the content did not change. The structure of the content did change. We put some securities in place so people would get less stuck, and they will be able to help themselves when the time comes. But still, we are providing them with a way to support them and with a way to get certified, which is the main reason they are there. So I hope you like this video. If you want more of this, you know what to do. I will see you in the next one.